Hello student, welcome again. It's a second lecture on maintenance engineering. As you can see in your screen that today we discuss important and benefits of sound maintenance management system. After after that we will discuss some points on of reliability theory. So what are the benefits of sound maintenance management system? As you can see that the different benefits are minimization of color time, improvement in availability of system, extended life of equipment, safety and smooth operation of the process, provide adequate backup supply, minimization of normal expected wear and tear of equipment, safety of the personnel involved in the organization, increase reliability of the system and provide proper working environment. So reliability in maintenance is major function. So first we have to understand what is the basics of reliability theory. So before that we have to understand some point like what are system function, their classification, what are system failure and faults, and what then we define the system reliability. After that there is a failure modes and effect analysis, which is FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis. After that you heard the topic and we discussed some points on about it in our classroom, that fault tree analysis. Okay, so what do you understand by the system function? Like system functions, these are many other functions of an object and elements. If you take the example of a power plant, there are some essential functions. Like these essential functions defines the intent or primary function. If you take the example of power plant, then it is to provide electrical power on demand to the consumers who are part of the network. So it is essential function. After that there is auxiliary function. These are required to support the primary function. They are usually less clear than essential function. If you take example, then like preserving fluid integrity is an auxiliary function of a pump, and its failure may cause a critical safety hazard if the fluid is toxic. Okay, and the third one is protective functions. What is protective function? Protective function is the twofold goal. In protective function there is twofold goal: to protect people from injury and protect against damage to environment. Okay, and the last one is information function. These functions are like different conditions like monitoring, gauges, alarms and so on. If you take example of power plant again, there is a main control panel displays various bits of information about the different subsystem. Different subsystem means example like voltage and current output of generator, pressure and temperature of steam in the various parts of the plant. So I hope you understand the function concept. After that it comes the failure. Then what is failure? Failure is the termination of the ability of an item to perform the required function. Okay student, you understand function. After that there comes failure. So You can note down that failure is the termination of the ability of an item to perform a required function. So, a system failure occurred due to the failure of one or more of its components. So, like failure, primary failure, there are different classification of failures like primary failure, secondary failure, command failure. In primary failure, you include a component occurs when the component fails due to natural causes like your aging or an action, for example repair or replacement by a working unit. And in secondary failure is the failure of component due to one or main of the following causes like primary failure of the component in the system or environmental factors or different actions of the user. And the third type of failure is command failure. In command failure occur when a component is in the non-working rather than failed. You can say that non-working state of because of improper control signal or noise. Okay, for example a faulty action of a logic controller switching off the pump. So hope you understand the different types of system function. You understand the failure, and after that we study there is the failure data analysis, which is most important concept. And there is one important concept before reliability is faults. So what is fault? A fault is the state of an item characterized by its inability to perform its required function. So you understand function, you understand different types of failures. So there comes a fault. Okay student, again I am repeating, a fault is the state of an item characterized by its inability to perform its required function. There comes different types of failure modes. So we discuss the failure modes. There are intermittent failures. You can note down that intermittent. Intermittent failures. What is intermittent failures? Failure that lasts for only a short time. Okay, like we can quote the example of software fault which occur only under certain condition that occur intermittently. Okay, and the another type of failure are extended failure. Failure that continue until some corrective action rectifies the failure. And we can further classify it into two categories like complete failure or partial failure. Complete failure means failure which result in a total loss of functions, and partial failure is failure will result in partial loss of function. So student, before reliability, what we have discussed different types of function, different types of failure, and different types of failure modes. So I hope there is some clarity between all of these. Then what causes the failure is most important. Like you can classify it, or you can say that there are design failure, there are weakness failure, there is manufacturing failure, and the natural is the aging failure or misuse failure. Misuse failure means due to misuse of the system, like operating in environment for which it was not designed, so it's a misuse failure. Or the important one is mishandling failure, due to incorrect handling or due to non-skilled labor handle it, or lack of care and maintenance. So these all are causes of failure. Okay, sir. And before reliability, you have to understand that why reliability theory came. Reliability theory because of these. Why we need reliability? Because there is a function, there is a failure, there is fault, there are different stages of failure. So The concept of reliability has found increased usage in industries, engineering, maintenance, and management. So, in next video, we will discuss the reliability in maintenance. Thank you, students.